Hello, and welcome to Lunch Therapy.
A lot of people listening to those two languages have mentioned that they seem familiar to them.
It's Interview Friday. Love Interview Friday. Interview Friday is a day when we interview somebody super interesting. So today, if this is your first time seeing Lunch Therapy is a place where we let go of our news cycle. We take a little bit of time to chill out, have fun. Chats are welcome. Chats are put on the screen, especially the interesting ones. There's a lot of interesting people in our chat room. Speaking of interesting people, today's guest is Richard Lawson. I'll talk more about him. It's kind of hard to put in a box. You can't put Richard Lawson in a box. Also, behind me, the amazing TAS visuals and the music of Alfred. I invite you to go to their YouTube channel and check them out. Wub, wub, wub. Matt Wright is here. And down in the corner here, you can subscribe to Lunch Therapy. Get your therapy. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I people say Lunch Therapy helps a lot. I see Trish King is here. Happy Friday. Cool visuals. Also, Trish King, I'm playing some of your music at the end of the show. I hope you don't mind. Squid. Yeah, there's a squid in there. Who else is here? Oh, 425 subscriptions we have. Or subscribers on YouTube. So we're building. Kate is here. Good to see you, Kate. Kate's a hilarious comedian. We have a show tomorrow night. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Trish. All right, we're moving into the show now because things are getting crazy. Okay, so this is the portion of the show where I calm the fuck down. So great show today. Great crowd today. Trish King does have an amazing voice, and she's going to be playing, she doesn't even know what she's going to be playing at the end of the show. It's going to be a Seattle band, I must say. She's doing a cover from a Seattle band. I'm going to let that be a surprise. So here we are. This is where we breathe. We take in 3 breaths, in through the nose and out through the toes. Here's the first one. Hold it. And let it out. This is good. I want to say that this show, even though, I'm interviewing Richard Lawson, I want to dedicate this show to my friend Suzanne Huang, who passed away last year. She was a force of nature. The reason I'm thinking of her today was her birthday last week. And also, she and I met in Richard Lawson's acting class at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. And I have a story about her and about how Richard influenced her at the end of the show that I'll share. But I want to get into this interview. Matt Wright says, subscribe. Yeah. Trish says, thank you, Kamala, for the compliment, the amazing voice compliment. All right, second breath, in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. and let it go. We have the amazing beach scene from Nomadic Ambiance behind us. And one more breath. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. I feel calmer. I feel good. I don't know if I'm going to feel calmer after watching this, though, because at the beginning of the week, we had watched this guy. He got in this paraglider, glided out, and he was like in a bed, sleeping. Another one, he was sitting on a couch watching a TV, and now he has taken someone with him. So here it is. We're going to watch this. Behind you, Sasquatch. I hope not. But Bigfoot is my best friend, so I don't have to worry about it. Here we go. This is Hasan Kaval. He is going to take a friend. They're saying follow Hasan Kaval because he's crazy. Okay, so here they are. They didn't show the launch this time, but here they are just hanging out, having Turkish coffee while flying high above Turkey, I assume. And this is not a green screen. This is not any kind of CGI effect. Is Sasquatch plural, like moose is the plural? You mean mooses is not the plural? Sasquatches. I don't know if they've seen two together, so maybe it's not even a thing yet. Sasquatches. Okay, so I just want to see them land because I don't know how the heck you would land like this. They're so calm, and she's calm too, even though she's not the guy who I came up with this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she does this as well. But she seems super calm. She has her mask on, so she's, not being, she's careful. Let's see them land here. So here they come. They're coming in for a landing. They have their helmets on. That's good. She doesn't have the mask on anymore. Two Sasquatches? Oh, I guess it is a thing. They're landing, and I don't know. I would never do that. So, but luckily he's doing that for me, so I don't have to. All right, we're heading into the next segment of the show, which is an introduction to Interview Friday. So here I am in the woods now, and now we're getting to the interview. We're getting there. We're getting to the highlight of the show, the tent pole of the summer. This is going to be an interview with Richard Lawson. Richard Lawson, well, you'll hear about me relating to Richard Lawson, but I'm going to show you just a couple of things about him. He is, like I was saying, he is a real, Renaissance person. This is what he looks like. He was a medic in Vietnam. He'll talk about that. He is an actor. He was in the movie Black Fist, and he was in the movie The Main Event, and How Stella Got Her Groove Back, and For Colored Girls, and a million other things, including he was a regular on All My Children, and MacGyver he was on, and St. Elsewhere, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So we're going to hear something about that. There he is in Poltergeist, Steven Spielberg movie. Also, oddly enough, and I'm going to ask him about this, he was in flight, I believe it was 405, the one that crashed in 1992 into the water. He was in that flight. I'm going to ask him about that as well. He talks about it on Oprah. You can hear the whole story on his YouTube channel. I believe it's there. But here we go. We're moving on in to Interview Friday. And here he is, Richard Lawson. Hello, everybody. We are here today with Richard Lawson, and I feel very, very privileged today to be with him because he's someone who has been very inspiring to me in my life. He was an acting teacher of mine at the Beverly Hills Playhouse years ago, and he had a big effect on me. I'm going to just tell a little story.
Okay.
At the top here about how you affected me in one way. I was doing a scene from Death of a Salesman, which is a very revered play by Arthur Miller.
Right.
I had a scene partner who I couldn't get together with. I could not rehearse with them. I would call them, I'd leave messages, never got any response. This person, I don't know, they were too busy or something, but they'd always show up to class. And in the class, what happened is you waited a while to perform a scene, but when you performed a scene, you better fucking perform that scene because there's a lot of buildup to it, and there's a lot of expectation and a very high bar in that class.
Yeah.
And so we were getting to the day when we needed to perform the scene, and I still could not get a hold of this guy. Still could not rehearse with him. We were doing the Biff and Happy scene, which is a great scene in the play, and it was the day before. So we took class Monday, Wednesday. So it was a Monday, and I was like, Wednesday we're going to do this scene, and Richard said to me, well, you're just going to have to do it. And I was like, what? And he said, you're going to have to do it as a shoot. Like you just show up on a film set, because that's what we do as actors. Sometimes you just have to show up and do the work. And so I learned my lines, never could get together with this person, brought in everything I could bring in to have like a room and, have a set. And we did the scene, and it was probably one of the best scenes I ever did. I've ever did in a class, because for one thing, it was so immediate. We were so, in the moment, because I had brought in things like I had a bicycle helmet, and these guys were back in their old room that they were in as kids, and they're talking because their dad is like going off the rails, and they're talking to each other, and I picked up the bike helmet that I had brought in, and I tried to put the chin strap on, and it happened to be too short. Or I, bounced a basketball, and it was flat. And I didn't, as the actor, I had no idea it was flat. It just kind of fell on the ground. And then, like, I spilled something, and then I was, like, all worried about it. Anyway, and I was using, like, a sock to clean it up. And these were all, like, spontaneous things. And I learned at that moment something about trusting myself and about trusting that there's more to me than I give myself credit for.
Right.
If you can just trust it. There's an old story, I don't know where I heard this story, but where there's a guy sitting on a box, and he's begging for money, and the person comes by and he says, what's in that box? And the guy's like, I don't know what's in that box. I've been sitting here for years begging for money. And he said, well, maybe you should check what's in that box. And so he opens up the box, and it's full of gold.
Wow.
And that was the experience I had that day that you had kind of revealed to me. Is like we're sitting on gold. We got to just allow ourselves to, experience life and be as great as we are. So
Exactly.
thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're enough.
You're enough.
You're enough.
You're
yeah.
enough.
And the interesting thing is, it's one of the toughest things to do is to get people to recognize the fact that they are unique. There's no one else in the world like you. And if you can be present with yourself and really appreciate the assets and liabilities that come with you, that the combination of all of those things makes a full circle. So like a day, there's 12 hours of light and 12 hours of dark. And you really have to be in touch with all the light and all the dark, because the combination of those two things makes you that unique person. And when people find that, then, amazing things happen.
You said that. It's funny because you said that back in the 90s. I don't know if you're aware of this, but when you were talking to Oprah Winfrey. So Richard is a multifaceted person. So hopefully I will do some kind of intro to this interview. But He's got, he was in Vietnam. He was a medic in Vietnam. He is an actor. You've seen him in a million things. He was in Poltergeist. He was on a soap opera for many years. He's been in just a million.
Just 2 years. Just 2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
Yeah.
You've been regulars on many shows. You're on MacGyver, tons of stuff. Probably you were in things that you don't even remember you were in at this point because you're such a prolific actor.
If somebody says, I saw you playing this cop in this show, and it was like, which show?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know what cop you're talking about.
Can't even imagine what that's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you were on Oprah Winfrey somewhere around 1993 after you had been in a plane crash and you had said this thing about darkness and light. You were saying that you are, you do have darkness and you do have light. And I remember Oprah's face when you said that because she was like, you could see she was like, "Where's this going?" But I understand, similar what you were talking about now. I wonder if you could tell us about that plane crash and your perspective on it now, as opposed to back in the 90s when it happened.
Well, as you know, it's like I'm one of the fortunate people to have been in a plane crash and live to talk about it. So I am extraordinarily blessed to be able to talk about it and to be able to look at it. But, the main thing that I will say about the plane crash is that the one thing that I received and really learned, if you will, or certainly got in touch with, that has changed my life forever is just the recognition that I need to follow my impulse, my perception. I've learned that I'm a very perceptive person, that I don't always use that gift, if you will, but when I'm in touch with it, it takes me where I need to be, even though I don't have a clue as to why, it's leading me opposite of the direction that I thought I should go in. But I listen. And that day, that evening, everything in me told me not to take that plane. Just before I got on that plane, I had a revelation that the plane was going to crash.
You did?
And I did, absolutely. It was clear as a bell.
How did it come to you? Did it come to you as an image or as a feeling or what?
It came to me as a knowingness. The pilot, the co-pilot, the co-pilot does the walk around of the plane before the plane takes off. I don't know, not a lot of people know that, but before every plane takes off, the co-pilot actually walks around the plane and examines the plane and then comes on the plane, and the co-pilot can be seen coming, when you go down the ramp and you make that left to go onto the plane, there's a door right there that they usually take the luggage out or down or up, or, those things that won't fit in the overhead bin. That's where the maintenance people go. But that's also where the co-pilot comes up after he's done the walk around. And when the co-pilot came in and I observed the co-pilot, there was something about his spirit that made me know something. And it gave me a cold chill. And I'm not one to I don't operate in fear.
Yeah.
But this particular time, I understood the universe was telling me something. And I froze, and then the flight attendant woke me up by saying, "Sir, may I help you to your seat? May I show you to your seat?" And I said, "Oh, okay." And at that point, I went from this spiritual self to this very public self that doesn't want to make waves, doesn't want to be wrong, is afraid to be right sometimes, and follows, you go along with the flow. So I went and sat down, not to cause any trouble. And I sat there and I was really clear that I needed to get off this plane. So I had one side of me dealing with the this truth that I knew, and this other side that was fighting the social ramifications of it. Because I was working for the National Basketball Association, besides being an actor, because I was in New York doing All My Children, but I was also running one of the people that ran the drug program for the National Basketball Association. So I was flying to Cleveland to meet with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And and those meetings were hard to get, and if you missed them you might not be able to get them again for months, if at all. So it was like it was necessary. It was late in the season and it was necessary that I get there.
Yeah.
So I let that be one of the things to guide me. But not to make a long story longer,
It's an incredible
the
story.
thing that I got from that
Yeah.
was that to know what I know, to trust what I know, not to question what I know, no matter how much the cry of voices is on the other side. So they're meaning that no matter what no matter what people will think, no matter what, that this perception and truth that I have is greater than all of the objection. And so that just, and I understood this and I knew this beforehand because as an artist, I've always operated within that realm and that truth in terms of me pursuing what I wanted to pursue in a time when back in the 60s and 69 and in the 70s, the business wasn't for me. It wasn't made for me. I was ancillary to the business as a Black actor.
Mm-hmm.
The parts that I should have been up for, I wasn't up for because those went to the white actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood that. And I understood that I needed to do what I needed to do to change that. So nothing could sway me from my purpose.
Yeah.
And so this feeling, this sense that I had, I let that other side talk me into staying on that plane. And so since then, the majority of the time I follow my impulse, my instinct, my perception.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like a pit bull with lockjaw. And I bite down on my truth and I don't give it up for anyone.
How do you discern your own impulse from all the noise that's going on from other people, from the media, from books that you read, from the newspaper, from where any other impulses that are going on? Because I find that in my life I have fallen prey to other impulses that are going on around me. Like I'll even pick up a conversation that someone's having next to me where they say something as if it's the truth and then pick up that truth and then later have to kind of debunk it.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you keep your thoughts and impulses pure?
I have to remain willing to see, willing to be seen. Therefore, I can perceive. Because I'm willing to look at and accept what's in front of me.
And really look at it.
And really look at it. And it oft times, and I think one of the things that's helped me do that is the fact that, I grew up in every project in Oakland, so I saw a lot. I went to Vietnam as a medic, so I saw a lot. I had a very unique perspective as a medic because people came to me because I was doc.
Yeah.
And because of touch and because of here, let me take a look at that. Oh, this is infected. Let me clean this up. And this touch that would come hey, doc, can I talk to you about something?
I bet.
Listen, man, my wife, my family, my whatever. And then you get this heartache and then you'd have to deal with the heartache. And so you were as much of a psychologist, as a therapist, as a listener, as you were a medic. So that his inner life became more important than the outer life. And so that through that, having that experience and through the experience of then, coming back and dealing with drug addiction, um, and then dealing with people's truth and life, and really understanding that, you know, the alcoholic's prayer: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so, therefore, that requires a stillness to be able to see and know where you can make a difference. Like right now, in this period of time, you really have to know where you can make a difference, rather
Yeah.
than getting caught up in,
Yeah.
in the various tones of movement. Like but
Mm-hmm.
what is your tone? What
Yeah.
is true for you? So through all of that, and then when Milton asked me to be a teacher,
Yeah. So we're
besides
talking
being in the
about Milton Katselas, who ran the
yeah
Beverly Hills Playhouse.
yeah
Yes.
yeah who originated it.
Originated it.
Yeah. um, uh,
What?
God rest his soul.
Yes.
But I learned a lot from him, uh, and so even as an artist and having to be in this business, which again, this business wasn't for me. You had to find what you could find with it. And then when I learned that I needed to create whatever it is that I wanted and saw, that I had to create it, I had to
Yeah.
put it in place. It was a desert, and I had to create my own oases. And so, in terms of doing that, and in dealing with all the stuff that you could complain about, I learned to recognize what I couldn't change, to change what I could, and have the wisdom to know the difference, which gave me a sense of serenity. And in serenity, there is a stillness and a being present, and you understand the power of intention.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So you had to overcome. Not only did you probably have PTSD, but then you also had to overcome drug addiction, and then also work in this industry, which is a huge you were at a huge disadvantage because things were not constructed for you.
well, let me correct you for a
Go
second,
ahead.
because I didn't see myself as at a disadvantage.
You weren't. Okay. I want to hear that. That's good.
I saw myself as at an advantage, because I was really clear about the obstacles. So the obstacles were never a stop for me. They were a challenge for me.
I like
And
that.
so therefore I came upon the China wall. It wasn't like, oh shit, how am I going to get around this? Well, we can't get over, around, or through that, so we have to turn back and give up. No, it actually turned me on, because it became like, okay, I could go under it, I could dig, I could go around it. That's 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
Who do I know that has a hot air balloon
Right.
or a helicopter? Or, maybe I can scale the walls. Maybe I can blow the fucker up,
Yeah.
because maybe I can get through. But there was a way to do it.
Yeah.
There was a way to do it, and so therefore, it became a challenge for me, and it actually turned me on. It was like, I won't go there, but it was
We'll
it,
imagine.
it was exciting,
Yeah.
because otherwise I would be at effect to it rather than at cause over it.
That's so important.
So I've always been at cause over all those things, because once I see what it is, then I intentionally and I postulate what the difference is, what is that backward thinking with forward motion? What is that out there?
Yeah.
I see that out there, and I bring it back to me. So I see I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, this and this and this. Okay, now I know the road to get there. So it becomes GPS. And if you want me to get there faster, tell me no.
So, what other obstacles have you overcome in your life recently? I know one of the things which I was amazed by was you recently got super fit after
Yeah.
you like all of a sudden I just noticed it on Instagram like that you felt like you all of a sudden looked down and were like, "Oh, I'm overweight," and then you just took command of it. Can you tell
Well,
me about that
ironically,
process?
sure. Ironically, the weight that I gained was the one area that I didn't take responsibility for. Because if you looked at over the course of my career, 50 years,
Yeah.
there was a period that I was the guy.
Yeah.
You know, I was that guy that then Denzel became and
Yeah.
Sam and all those guys. I starred in a play in New York. Denzel was the co-star. So was Sam Jackson. I starred in a series called Days and Nights of Molly Dodd in the '80s, and Sam Jackson and Wesley Snipes were guest stars on the show. So my career during the late '70s and '80s into the '90s was on a trajectory, and then I didn't even realize that you know that my all of the you talk about post-traumatic stress and all of the deaths that because in Vietnam I was a medic,
Yeah.
so I was like very personal with maybe 300 people dying, 150 in one day, where
150 in
they
one day?
yeah, where they had like a mass grave they had to build, they weren't American soldiers. They were Vietnamese soldiers. They were Vietnamese people. They were mountain yard people. And so, in terms of me trying to deal with these people, these indigenous people, and trying to help them in the gunshot wounds, and one woman was 9 months pregnant and she had a bullet wound to her stomach and it was no exit wound. So, you know what happened there.
Yeah.
And then all of that death, and then coming back, and then my family, all of my mother, sister, my mother, my aunt, her sister, her three brothers, they all died in a year, within a year. And and so in terms of I didn't process any of that, and so then I started. I wasn't aware that I had PTS. If you ask my wife today, she'll tell you I have PTS right now.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and that's when
So,
we're in an argument or
yeah.
something, and she says, you should see your face and you should see what happens to you. But
I get that from my wife too, where she's like,
yeah,
"What's up with your face?"
yeah,
And I'm like, "What
yeah,
are you talking
exactly.
about?"
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
but when I got back from Vietnam, there was no debriefing. I just had to process
How
all
did
that.
you do that? Because obviously you came out strong, or somewhere along the line, you became strong, so strong that you could help other people. You could go back in that plane or whatever and help people out, and you still to this day help people with their struggles and make them free. Isn't that, I mean, that's kind of what you do, right?
Yeah, that's what I
So
do.
how did you come about? How did you help yourself put that mask on your face first and help yourself?
Well, what I realize is that um, using a plane analogy,
Yeah.
not the plane that I was on, but
Right.
the analogy of somebody being on a plane,
Hmm.
and the oxygen mask drops down,
Yeah.
and the protocol is you put your mask on first, and then you can help other people.
Yeah.
Well, for those years of my life, I was putting other people's masks on and not putting my own, so I
Yeah. A
wasn't
lot of
taking
us do
care of
that, huh?
myself.
Hmm.
So my caretaking aspect was really, you know, that was my deflection, is that I helped other people and helped them well.
Hmm.
And in the process, wasn't taking care of myself. When we got into the '90s, after I left, came back from the plane crash, I did realize that I was having post-traumatic stress then, and I didn't go get help for it. I played golf.
You did.
I I
A
played
lot.
golf. That was my therapy. I
Yeah.
played golf every day for 5 years.
Wow.
That was my
Did
therapy.
that help?
It did help.
Wow.
It did help. It helped in the sense that every day I had somewhere to put that energy,
Yeah.
and I didn't put it into self-destructive things. I became a good golfer.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily helpful for other people in my life because where's Richard?
He's
He
at the
left
golf
at 6
course.
this morning and he didn't come back until 9. And so now he's tired, he goes to sleep. So that wasn't helpful there. But,
Yeah.
but then so when I recognized, because I saw this montage of my work,
Yeah.
and around the 90s, I saw myself starting getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I went up to 270 pounds. And and one day, a girl that works with me,
Mhm.
she's my senior stage manager in my school now.
Yeah.
She was at the BHP, and she always had a weight thing. And she came in one day and was like, "Damn, what have you been doing?" She had lost about 30 pounds. And then she eventually lost 50 pounds, and that was my motivation.
Yeah.
And then I then went on this program, um, and and now I'm coaching people on the program, um, and I've probably helped 100 people lose 30, 40, 50 pounds. And now, and what that has done is that it was sort of like I had a failed purpose and didn't recognize it. Now I've rehabilitated my purpose,
Yeah.
and now I can help people from a place, from a good healthy place, rather than a place of like, yeah, this is what you should do, go do it.
That's,
You
I
know what I
think,
mean?
something that people don't realize sometimes. We don't realize, and maybe we have to remind ourselves even, is that sometimes we feel like we failed in some area. Like, one thing is like, I didn't become the great guitar player that I wanted to be, And then
Mm,
you're like,
mm,
well, still standing here on the earth. There's the thing. My favorite thing is they say, like, somebody said, I'm going to learn how to play the piano. And somebody said, well, you're going to learn how to play the piano? You're like 50.
mm.
How old will you be before you're a great piano player? And it's like, I'll be
Yeah.
the same age as if I'm not a great piano player.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah. See, one of the things that is staple to my teaching is that dreams don't have expiration dates.
Oh, I like that.
And so, it's never too late.
I love that.
Never too late. We happen to be in a business and a profession that is not limited by age. You
Yeah.
look at some of the, look, George Burns and Gracie Allen, they worked until they died. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Um,
I feel like there's
uh,
either alive or there's dead. And if you're alive, get out there. Get out there and do it. Don't sit there and look at like, oh, I'm too old. There's so many people that do that. They just say, I'm too old and I don't want to do anything.
yeah,
And you know what? You can. You
yeah,
can get right
absolutely.
up off the couch.
There's two stages to death, and a lot of people are operating in stage one, which is apathy.
Hmm.
Where you are spiritually dead.
Yeah.
And stage two is when your body stops. But people are so oftentimes dead long before their body stops. And if people are connected to their purpose, like, what is your reason for being? Why are you here? You know,
Yeah.
what do you do extraordinarily well? And and are you helping others to do what it is you do?
Yeah. That's what a while back, I think it was maybe a year ago, I was like, somebody said that you got to figure out what your purpose is and just do that. And and they said, you know what, you can state it and then change it if you want. It's your life.
Yes,
So I stated
yes,
it. I'm going to realize my dreams so that other people can realize theirs. They
right,
can see me
exactly.
realizing my dreams and go, oh, I can do this too. If Joel can do it,
Yeah.
So ever since then, I've just been like, that's it. That's my purpose,
Right.
and it's it helps me. It helps other people.
Yeah. And the thing is that um, it can change, but at least you get started, because if you
Yeah.
when you're attached to your purpose, it will live forever. It will live when your body's dropped and you're 6 feet under the ground. Your purpose is still going on because somebody has picked it up. Like, for instance, Milton's purpose had a very clear purpose in what he was doing, as the reason why he helped so many other people.
Hmm.
And I picked that mantle up, and I've taken it to a whole nother level in terms of my own journey. But
Yeah.
a lot of what I learned was just in terms of the foundation of what he laid, and I've like built on it. And so his purpose is still alive in me, and it lives in others as well, at least portions of it. And so you look at people like Martin Luther King, his purpose is still alive today. You know, Gandhi's purpose is alive today. You know,
Absolutely.
uh, Barack Obama is no longer president, but you can see his purpose is still very much alive today. People are still calling upon that.
Hmm.
So whether, I don't care what you do, what your form of art is, or your form of whatever it is you do, it will live way past you, because and then once you have it, it will get you up every day. I cannot wait to get up.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get up.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get into, you know, building within and feeding and fueling and watering. I have 33 projects that I'm working on.
Can you tell me?
33.
Can you tell me about your facility there, Waco, and what
Yes.
it means, and so people can
Yeah.
know about it?
Yeah. Waco stands for, um, wait, I'm going to do something here.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
Waco stands for where art can occur.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And most people say, when we first did Waco, to Waco,
Right.
Texas?
I'm sure. I'm sure. Of
No,
course.
this has nothing to do with the Davidians. This has to do of creating a space where art can occur.
Love that.
And so it is a nonprofit, and there are three buckets. One is the theater and all the things we create in the theater, which is plays, dance recitals. We have an art gallery. It is all art centric. The second is Tina's Angels and Richard's Warriors. Those are two mentorship groups that are contiguous. We deal with uh, 12-year-olds on up, and to the kids going into college, and we try to create um, uh, a world of education, inspiration, empowerment, fiscal literacy, and artistic growth and achievement. With the COVID thing, a lot of that has to be online. So online, I'm teaching them how to become filmmakers for two reasons. One is to create interesting stories, and in the process, they learn about themselves, because film is a great teaching tool.
Hmm.
The camera doesn't lie.
Yeah.
So whoever it is you think you are, it will show up on this screen here and be very present. And so the kids it's a great tool for them to learn about who they are, what they want, what they dream about, and ultimately trying to help them dream beyond their zip code. The third bucket, which is in development, is the Mobile Arts Theater, where we will take art into the communities, into underserved communities, at-risk communities, where we take 40-foot vans, convert them, like one to a stage, one to a dressing room, and for women with a wardrobe component, dressing room for men with the props component, and then a fourth one is stage manager's booth, and then we put digital screens on the sides of the truck so that when we go to a park and on the grass, people can be back there and they can see what's going on the stage. We do theater on Friday night, music, live music on Saturday night, and comedy and poetry on Sunday night. The evening is entertainment. The daytime is edutainment. So in the daytime, we have fiscal literacy workshops, job fairs, and health fairs. And then the local vendors can put their wares around the perimeter. And so Joe's, Fat Burgers can have a stand, Sarah's restaurant, Joe's Plumbing, so and so and so. So the vendors in the zip code can reintroduce themselves to the community. And
Wow.
so,
That's
yeah,
great. That's so great.
we have a busy agenda.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to end the interview on that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that is, I mean, now people can go to the website. What is the website, by the way?
Well, there's two websites. There's
Yeah.
my school,
Yeah.
which is it's studio.richardlawson.net.
Okay. Yeah.
Studio.richardlawson.net.
Okay.
And then there's wacotheatercenter.com.
Okay. I'm going to put that on the screen as well. Waco Theater. Is it TRE or TER?
TER.
Okay. Dot
Waco Theater Center.
.org, did you say?
wacotheatercenter.com.
.com.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got both of those on the screen here. So yeah, I
Yeah.
invite all my viewers to go take a look at that. And also if you have any people that are, young people, old people, everybody who are looking for some guidance and some artistic, a place where they can create art and where they can learn from incredible people like Richard Lawson here, guiding
you.
people, helping people, but also being great himself.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Richard. I just
Did
feel
you
so
did
fortunate.
you did you marry somebody from the studio?
Yes, Kamala Lopez.
Yeah, okay.
That's
See,
my wife.
okay.
Yeah, we run into each other periodically, Richard. I think Kamala and I ran into you at the Apple Store. But it was like, I don't know. It could have been 10 years ago, for God's sake. You know the way things go.
It could have been any time because
Yeah.
I pay for the whole left side of the store. I
Yeah,
buy
totally.
so many Apple products.
Yeah,
I'm telling
me too,
you, it's
me too. But it helps
crazy.
us out. Helps us out.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Richard. And
Okay.
so great connecting
Good to
with
see you, man.
All right. Great seeing
Continued
you too.
success.
Carry on.
All right.
Hopefully I can come over there and check out some of the shows when things.
We're online. We're virtual
You
now.
are?
So
Okay.
yeah, we're
I'll
doing
make sure that I
everything
do that.
virtually now. So you can find us. Just Google me and you'll find
You
your way
got it,
to
man. You got it. All right.
Okay.
Catch
Thank
you
you.
later, man. Well, that was great. That's Richard Lawson. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? What can I say? So lucky to have him on the show. I think one of the things that I didn't do was put his website on there. Studio.richardlawson.net is the address. So check that out. And let's see what the chat room has to say here. Yeah, Vernus. What an incredible project. Yep. Thanks, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Great segment. An incredible man. Yes. Yeah, so there's Richard Lawson. That's what he's doing right now. So I mentioned that, I was talking about Suzanne Huang and how I met her in Richard's class, and she is definitely one of those people that has passed on, but her momentum is affecting others, myself included. One of the things about Suzanne was she really put herself out there, and she just continually put herself out there against all odds. And she was an incredible creative person, a storyteller, a comedian, an actor, a host, all these things, and it just kept coming. And she had, at the same time, she lived her life like it was an art piece, just extraordinary things in her life. If you talk to her for 5 minutes, you'd be like, oh my God, this is your life. Pretty incredible. The story that I had about Richard Lawson was we were in his class, and Suzanne was talking about how she was getting typecast all the time. She kept getting typecast because she was Asian, and she wanted to play some, more mainstream roles or the lead, And Richard said to her, well, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to lean into being Asian. I'd like you to lean into it. Oops, I've got Trish coming on. That's Trish, but she's coming on in a second. Anyway, so what she did, so he said, I'd like you to come in and do a stand-up and be as Korean as you can possibly be. And so she came in the next day, or the next class, with this full-on traditional Korean outfit on and a fan. And she came up with this character, Sun Hee Park, and she did this stand-up routine that was just hilarious. I mean, we were just rolling around on the ground laughing. And she went on to become like a world-renowned comedian after this. I mean, she wasn't a comedian at all. And I, would see her years later and be like, I remember that day. And she's like, yeah, Richard. And Richard said, when I talked to him about it, he said, yeah, I really pissed her off. But, she rose to the occasion and, really incredible. Anyway, Google Suzanne Huang sometime. Check her out. She lives on. And this show is dedicated to her. Now, Trish is going to be on. I gave you a little preview of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Trish King. Playing Magic Man by heart. This is from a while back.
Cooling nights so long ago, and I was not so strong, Ferdinand came to me, never seen eyes so blue, I could not run away, it seemed. We'd seen each other in a dream, seemed like he knew me, he looked right through me, yeah. Come on home, girl, he said with a smile. You don't have to love me, let's get high and wild. But try to understand, try to understand, try to understand. I'm a magic man.
Heart, Seattle band. Love the Seattle bands.
Winter nights we sang in tune, played inside the month's moon. Never think of never, let the spell last forever. Well, summer lover past to fall. Try to
Trish live streams regularly, takes requests.
Growing up in
Go to her YouTube channel, Trish King Music. Subscribe.
Come on home, girl, mama cry on the phone.
She rocks.
Soon to lose my baby, and my girl should be home. Try to understand, try to understand, try to understand. He's a magic man, mama. Oh, he's a magic man. Come on home, girl, he said with a smile. I'll cast my spell of love on you, woman from a child. Try to understand, try to understand. Oh, try to understand. Try to understand. He's a magic man. Oh yeah, he's got the magic hands.
Thanks to everybody for being on the show this week. Richard Lawson, Beneja and Wah. Michael Caine. You got to see the one yesterday for that. Harrison Ford. Fun week.
Come on home, girl, he said with a smile. You don't have to love me less than how I
Joe
try
Fury.